vehicle accident report from, and I told him I'm just taking a day off. And I said, this is my, I get days for, volunteer, whatever work. I told him I'm doing community service today because I got public hearings. And they said, okay.
Comes everybody rise, the king of Sanford.
Yes, all right.
All right.
You talking about giving blood to the kids, you know, a couple of us boys that ran around together, whatnot, we, you know, get the cuffs, you know.
Yeah.
And,
I is the king before.
if Daddy would catch us before we went in the house, before Mama saw us, you know, and he won't know, but then he'd like, let me get in and get cleaned up for Mama to see us. And, that's what he'd say sometimes. He's like, what are they doing? What have they been doing? Like, giving blood. And she looked at him like, what? She finally called on
I don't know what that meant.
She finally
That's early for you to be up, isn't it? Your reporter types out late at night.
I'm up late.
Yeah.
Got to get up with the kids.
I hear you.
Oh, man. What I see in Betty's superhero movies, there's always out there in the middle of the night trying to get the lead on the story and all like that.
No, I'm not doing that.
That's,
I don't know what I see.
that's only in the movies, is that it?
Can't find it, news creation.
I need my feet.
That might improve circulations act. Particularly if you get pictures and tag numbers where they shouldn't be at.
There'll be some different stories about it. Bring it in.
No, it'd be the same stories, it'd just be at least in your
Investigative report. There we go.
Usually on my one PC.
You could have a whole other page put in there, who's doing who in Madison at 3 a.m.
Yeah, make the sales even go up.
Probably would, yeah.
Might potentially get the paper into some issues that they don't want to be.
I don't know if bad
There's
busted,
some issues about that.
if bad busted will do that, then there's nothing to leave.
I hear that I'm supposed to be writing a little piece for that.
I can get some touchdown clubs.
You gotta write an order for the bad bus, is that what you're
Yeah.
That explanation.
He's doing the first 3 a.m. before.
Yeah, that's what I got to do. Yeah, what's going on at 3 a.m.
Page 4 photos.
That's right.
Yep, that's it. No, Jim said something about
It took him a minute.
yeah, I got it.
A little slow on that.
You're talking about history,
Stuff like that, a little bit.
I don't tell them that. Thanks for driving me nuts.
We just
20
did the roller skate.
Yeah, 20 years from now, you may be wishing you stayed
I
on the
know,
scooter.
I know.
You done ditched the scooter today?
Yeah, I just, you know, it's in the office.
You can't hold his coffee in it.
I can't hold it.
And look, this is not built. You have to get everything handicapped made in here in this room to drive it up, right?
Yeah.
Tomorrow, don't leave, we got to have somebody blame all these taxes on.
Yesterday, a little bit of good news. Bill's Barbecue is either sold or
Maybe they're renting out the building.
Yeah, they leased the building out, 'cause I talked with him that Culver, he's leasing it for like $3,000 a month.
yeah.
Opened it yet.
But he's
I think he got a barbecue place over in Kennesaw he's trying to sell.
yeah, he come in, he was wanting to add he's got an add a building to it, we were meeting setbacks and all that, but he also licensed, so it's sort of like wing house, if you wanted a beer, we can barbecue sandwich and have one. I'm glad to see that building. That's a prime piece of real estate.
Well, so this you got half Ingles, the old Ingles and CVS is empty.
Ingles won't even talk to you about it.
Really?
No,
No.
no. I tried to get that building a long time ago.
How did they do the Goodwill store up there in Hawk and everything? I mean, it was the same situation up there.
Yeah, you know, I'll be honest with you, that'd be a good for that. There's been so many people interested in that, but, I don't know, if it's not Bob Engel, it's another gentleman now, but may expand one day, and they don't wanna get into a contract.
Well, they owe us $11,000 in delinquent taxes because they appealed it and all like that, so we might end up with it anyway.
Go for it, Lamar.
Like more of an indoor go-kart track.
Yeah, well, anything like that, whatever.
Have you moved past the casino and distillery?
Yeah, I give
You
it.
can't,
We got the.
the casino, we
Too
just
close
can't
to a church.
find too many, we can't find, enough, Native Americans.
Hayes County claims Native American blood, we
But-
can't get a Native American.
That's right. We're not a reservation, that's right.
Zach's writing all this down.
I mentioned it in several meetings.
I think personally, in every paper, just to make it comical. If y'all just was around Lamar enough to know, you ought to have a column in there.
I don't.
We'll title it
Tax Commission.
Taxing Madison County.
Yeah. I don't know though, it might get into some sticky situations.
Yeah, sometimes I see, I think, sometimes.
It could be, the best place to put that would be the 3 a.m. report in the paper, right? 3 a.m. thoughts from Lamar Dalton.
That is classic. It's just, Brian probably knows better than anybody, because y'all go back further, but, it's comical, boy, some of the stuff. If I'm having a bad day, just go see Lamar.
That's it.
I guarantee you, it'll be brighter.
You missed out on our pig breed conversation.
I don't even want to hear that.
Well, all I know is he
How are
had
y'all?
one pig named Kirby Smart, right?
I have one name, Nick Saban.
Yeah, Nick Saban too.
Smart.
Yeah, my kids wanted to adopt Kirby Smart.
Mark Rigg.
Oh yeah, Mark Riddick, that's it.
Just before everybody leaves, if you'll all sign this, please.
We're getting there. Yep. Madison County Board of Commissioners Public Hearing Meeting to discuss the, I'm sorry, I read that completely wrong. Madison County Board of Commissioners Public Hearing Meeting Agenda, August 16th, 2022 at 9 a.m. This is to discuss the, budget for this year
Millage rate.
and the millage rate. Well, I have the budget in front of me. Is there any statements from remarks from citizens on today's meeting? Phil,
What
come
y'all
right
decide
ahead.
on the millage rate?
Do what?
What did y'all decide on the millage rate?
You jumped all the way to the bottom line. Well, for one, we haven't through the public hearings first. I will tell you that it is favorable that, that we will be doing a rollback.
No, we finally convinced the Board of Education to roll theirs back. I think I stepped on a little bit of few of those toes when I told them I had a little closed door meeting going on.
I understand.
And one thing that got offended,
You know, the first thing I'll tell you is there's a lot of hard work been done, in these offices. Special thanks to Melanie Kidd and Lamar Dalton's office. She has run numbers for us. I would tell you there was 2 solid weeks I think she run them for 8 hours a day, every day, along with Miss Talbert, along with Christina Baxter. There was as many hands in this cookie jar to come up with an accurate rate. We think we do have one, but the board has not went through the actual budget yet, line by line, which we will be doing. And once the board has had an opportunity to go through each departmental budget, then we'll come to a consensus to where we need to be. Again, I'm speaking before, I'm putting the cart before the horse, but I feel very comfortable that we are gonna have a rollback. But again, I can't say that to print until we get the budget discussed. I tell you that it was always the intent of the Board of Commissioners to take care of its citizens tax-wise. I mean, has done a very good job. This board has done a very good job. Our office staff and every department's done a good job for the past couple of years. And we do feel like that we're gonna be in a situation to where there's no need in having an increase.
I know I've talked to a lot of senior citizens that's gonna have problems paying their taxes because they're on fixed income. And one lady, she said, gonna take 7 of her social security checks to pay her taxes, and she's gonna have to live on 5.
I said in a previous meeting that, that was one of my biggest concerns. They got a 6% increase, but we have a 9% inflation
Yeah,
rate.
but you know, Medicare went up too.
I agree. One of my biggest concerns is with the assessed values was not necessarily for taxes, because we can fix taxes if we need to on our end, but what disturbs me more than anything is insurance. Because your insurance assessment is one that a lot of people didn't factor in, is the replacement cost of your home.
Oh, crap.
Yeah, so
Now
you're
you gotta be worried about something else.
well, I'll just be honest, so it no matter what we do on taxes, you still have to be concerned about your homeowner's insurance. Because their cost to value of replacement is gonna see an increase. So if you have a financed home and you see an increase in your mortgage payments, it's gonna be from us, it's gonna be from your insurance company, so just be aware.
I done had that. I had $400.
I understand.
I said, well, if it go down, it's gonna come, the insurance gonna come down? They didn't give me no answer.
Price of car, it'll come down just a minute, but it ain't gonna come down much, ma'am, go ahead.
I wanted to protest any kind of tax increases too. My husband said, what's the point of even showing up, because nothing's gonna change. My brother-in-law lives in the county. He didn't want to show up. Okay, I'm gonna go over there and say, please have mercy on us, because our house taxes have recently increased, like $500 or $600, I can't even remember, but it was very recent. And in 2008, the same thing happened when everybody said their houses were worth $1 million, and then they couldn't sell them for $100,000. And I feel like we're going through the same thing again. Like property values, there's no way this can be, it's gonna collapse in the next year or so. I'm convinced of it. It'll come to a screeching halt, and we're gonna be stuck with these crazy high taxes. And there's nothing we can do about it. And I also have a neighbor who's a widow. Call me when they're having this meeting and I'll show up, but I can get a hold of her. She has health issues. She's by herself. Her house is, you know, falling apart because she can't maintain it. And she would, you know, really be hard to higher taxes, just like the rest of us would be hard hit, because we're dealing with inflation and everything else on top of it. So please, 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 please think about how this is gonna affect us, because we're, you know, just about every middle class and low income family in this county is probably gonna struggle hard to deal with an increase in these taxes on top of everything else that's going on.
Yes, ma'am. For the record, what's your name?
Catalina Kovac,
All right, can you spell that?
Kovac.
Kovac. And the last name? That is your last name?
Yes.
Wow.
Lina.
And your name, sir, for the record?
Kenneth Branyan.
Ryan?
Yes, ma'am.
And I did call and try to plead with the Board of Education, I guess, too, about their rates and everything. I mean, I don't even know what I can say or do, but I felt like I could at least say something. That y'all need to think about how it's really kicking everyone already down.
Ma'am,
The Board of Education did do a $1.5 million rollback. But they're on a different calendar year than we are. Our fiscal year's calendar year, they're different, so they're a little ahead of us schedule-wise.
Ma'am, I thank you thank you for coming. And I would disagree, respectfully with your husband and the brother-in-law that says it won't do any good. It does do good to come to
Prove them
meetings.
wrong.
Prove them wrong. Good for you. Which I would ask you to attend any board if you do have a voice. This is probably the most hearing board and listening board that you'll ever see. So no, we do applaud you for coming, and you always have an opportunity to speak. It is the intent, again, to go over this and make a firm decision, but I can tell you that there's not a taxpayer in the county that the board hadn't considered. All right, discuss the 2022 mill rate, gentlemen. Melanie, you wanna, or Lamar, either one, would y'all like to give us y'all's brief overview, so?
Well, it's really not much of an overview, you know where you sit when you incorporate next year. For the first time, and a lot quicker than I ever thought, it was $1 million, you know, just a share over. As far as our collection rates over the last 3 or 4 years, they've been most, to be honest with you, folks in the county do the hard. And regardless of what y'all said, and your issues with the elderly and stuff like that, and those backers to make sure we don't sell people property and stuff like that. So, what's the overall county budget for this year? What's it?
2023, the expenditures is going to be 22, revenues, I may have this wrong, 21,886.
That's right.
Okay.
But there's still some flexibility that we've got to do.
Oh, yeah,
And
yeah.
the revenues are a very conservative number because
Yeah.
we're over tax.
Melanie?
I can't read the bottom line.
That thing is there.
Yeah.
What is
Back row, Baptist.
There you go. Tax commission always fit was back to the wall. But you know, we had, I think it was about 426 on that delinquent tax sale deal last year. And we completely redone the way we do all that stuff. I think I took one house to actual tax sale, and if he had not been the person he wouldn't win, you know. But we try to work with folks as much as we can, and Ms. Kovac's right. Y'all remember 2008 and the moratorium? That White County is out. You had furloughs, you had everything, and it was a good thing to put the moratorium in because it took a while for the economy to come back. But we are headed that way.
I mean, just looking at the 5-year history in 2022 millage rate, what was advertised there is a rollback of 1.25 and unincorporated, and a rollback of over 2 and incorporated. So there's a little bit of an increase to help cover the increase in the budget. It's still a pretty significant rollback.
Yeah, because when you read what's put in the paper, that doesn't really,
It's very
it's misleading.
when you're not rolling all the way back to zero, but you're actually rolling back. You're saving the taxpayers money.
But the trouble is though, you know how many new houses have been built this year alone?
Correct,
That won't go on the tax thing until next year.
correct.
Actually, they go on as partial completions and stuff. If assessors are doing their job, they picking up how many up, and it's how they said it January
Yeah, but
1st.
they don't get taxed this year though, do they?
Some of them do. Now, if it's built after January 1st, it does roll on, but if whatever's sitting on the ground January 1st is what the tax.
Oh, I understand that.
Yeah, but some of the houses that they started.
They've been, you know, they've been
on that.
But
So-
that kind of growth is like, it's real growth, and
Yeah.
so it's taxing something that wasn't there last year. So that kind of growth is
I think they're gonna need to restructure this rental property where they got you know, you got 4 kids in a, like, apartment or something, that property owner's only gonna pay, he ain't paying all the school tax on the 3 kids, paying it on that piece of property.
So just for clarity, I spoke with Lamar last week, and I was in it, during a conference with ACCG about policy legislations coming up, and I have asked, and it made it to the #1 topic of clarifying your tax notice that we run in the paper. And it was supported about, I think there was 58 counties there, and every one of them supported, so hopefully we'll get some legislation regarding your tax bill. So I want to make it real clear, you know, to the public with Zach here and Zach's help. When we put out your tax notice in the paper, it always shows an increase. Even if we roll it back to nothing, it's still going to show an increase. It's going to say, whichever county you're in, it's going to, it will always read, Madison County is proposing an increase. Because what that true statement is, which is very confusing by the way the ads run, is this means we may not collect 1 penny more from the actual person property tax, but the income from new homes that entered the market. So therefore, there's an influx of dollar figures that reflects as an increase, but it's not actually an increase to the homeowner. That's very misleading when you read a tax increase on these notices, because there actually wasn't a tax things to tax. Does that make any sense?
So,
She's looking like,
yeah, so,
I'm just trying to read them in
yeah.
my mind, get it all situated,
Right.
well, let my mouse, you know.
yeah, so what's in the paper, when we talk about it, what we're talking about is, say again what you said a while ago about that's actually a,
Well, the unincorporated is a rollback of 1.25 mils, and the incorporated rollback is 2.32.
2 point what?
326.
Yeah,
2.326 for the
right.
incorporated.
So those are actually rollbacks, but it doesn't really read that way
Yeah, in
in
the paper, it reads that there's an increase, but that's because you have new property and
That's right.
you roll back from all the way back.
Oh, that confuses people, you gotta know it, we ain't highly,
Yeah.
most of us not highly educated
Yeah.
folks
But, yeah,
to read through that.
right, but that's the state of Georgia has said that's the way it's gotta be put in the paper.
1972.
Since not, yeah,
Even if the
we
mill
can't
rate
do it
doesn't-
any way different.
Yeah.
We have to put it in the paper
That's
using
why-
that script.
That's ACCG, and so we've got to get the
Yeah.
language changed.
That's right.
Even if a mill rate doesn't change, you've always got an increase in value because of new construction and improvement, stuff like that. So you have to advertise it as an increase in value.
And to Laura saying, your property value, which your home value is, that is not a number that the tax assessor's office just comes up with. Those are set by the state. And so we actually go through an audit every year of what we have it as far as property and homes and what we value them at. We get audited. So if we don't value them high enough, we lose your taxation on businesses, public utilities. You really have to, it's a really hard line, and it's a hard thing for the board to do because we have to meet state law and follow state guidelines, and then that's where your public hearings come in place for the board to be able to roll back. But that's another reason why it'll always read a property tax increase, because your property value will always increase, and that's why the board gets the opportunity to roll it back to help compensate.
When I built my house in 2002, they made us name stuff we wanted to have, and always in the driveway. And we don't get any kind of services as far as maintaining that. And there's like 5 or 6 people living, different parcels.
There's anything for that, too.
And it's just not, if we have to maintain it ourselves.
Yeah, there's a lot of those in the county. It's a private road, and what it is it starts off as a parent parcel, one big parcel, and they start splitting it off of just a private road and never becomes adopted by the county.
But, it used to be the old Everton Road many years ago, and it never was closed.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's still, if you look on the county map, it's still took over Everton Road.
Yeah, the county map will, if we do map private drives, a lot of private drives will still map them.
We do that for EMS purposes.
Yeah.
Like, you guys are saying a lot of good things, and I understand how you're explaining it now, but basically the change is I'm having to pay a couple $100 more based on the little notice I got in the mail, like, in December, this is what your appraised value is.
That's
what
done,
you're saying.
so,
Based on last year's.
That's
Right.
information.
yes.
But,
So that's a notice that has to be sent out by the state. That notice is with your new property value with last year's millage rate. So that's what when they talk about a rollback, they want to take that last year's millage rate and literally roll it back to a lower number, so it's not such a high percentage to be taxed on your new higher value. So that's why the board always gets an opportunity every year to roll it, because it's always going to fluctuate. So that's why, does that make sense, your rollback, so we
yeah, like how,
can.
like, the state is making y'all pay thousands or whatever.
So your assessment that goes out at the beginning of the year, that's required through,
It was legislative intent. Your house is appraised on basically the market approach and schedule approach. And because it's mass appraisal, a lot of similar properties get lumped in together, okay? When you get that assessment notice, the only thing you can appeal during that 45 days is the value on your house. You can never appeal a tax. So when the legislature agreed to put that on those assessment notices, they shot everybody in the foot, because very few people pay attention to fair market value. So when you look at that estimation of taxes, that's skewed, because that's the mill rate that will never hold. So in this case, they talked about rolling back, Board of Education's rolling back, the IDA is going to probably hold where they're at. So you're not going to see that mill rate, you get your mill rate on your fair market value. Your fair market value is what you always need to pay attention to. And with the growth we got in this county, people paying what they're paying for starter homes and stuff like that, it has hit every single household in the county, and that's what you're facing now. But that estimation of tax causes more grief to taxpayers than anything out there, because I guarantee you the tax dollars that you saw on there is not what you're going to pay. Not saying you won't have an increase, but it won't be what you saw on there, but that mill rate will never exist again. We could get that off of the assessment.
Well, I was just fixing to add to that. So that was my second part that we're introducing legislation to, or at least hoping to lawmakers, because all it does is create chaos in every county. The day after the mailboxes are opened, our phone lines blow up. And it's clearly, it was a deliberate act back years ago by a particular lawmaker that didn't get his way, and he got that part added. And honestly, he done it out of spite. And we're trying to get that removed. Your assessed bill, personally, if it wasn't just for the house value, so in case you want to refinance other than that, I would throw it in the trash, because it totally means nothing to you. Because the dollar amount in taxes at the bottom should never.
But it does entitle you to 45 days to file an appeal, and they can show you why your house is raised like this.
But everyone's afraid that if you file an appeal, okay, everyone I talk to is like, what if they come and say it's worth more, and then I have to pay even more?
That's a chance.
So like, why would you even gamble when you think you're pretty sure that you're going to get screwed?
Can I ask you a question? Appraisal done on your house in the past 4 or 5 years. Okay. If you compare what Ms. Christine was talking about a while ago, the level of assessment, our ratios are extremely low this year because of the way the Department of Revenue pulls sales out. I spoke to Robin last week, and we are 3 or 4 points below where we've ever been historically, which means that there's a lot of properties out there that are undersized, believe it or not, over market value. I learned the hard way. My wife got this place. I did a refi on my house where I could just pay for everything, and that's my place was just there. You know, it's not now. They call it pretty quick. I just got the check and stuff that come in and all, and never failed in the 40 percentile, which is your basic level of assessment. we've always rolled in 37.5, 38.5. So there's a lot of parcels out there that are even undervalued. You go to what the market's holding for the parcel written now. And that's a tough pill to swallow, but with the market like it is now, and it's slowing down some, more going slow building down, and you're not quite seeing houses going under contract the second they go on the market, you know, that's slowing down.
Interest rate went up.
You know, people are starting to think, well, it's gonna hit for too long, you know, but right now, we face it's not the benefit. I guess we face the repercussions of the bedroom community, Clark County, you know, a big influx of people from out of state, out of county, and that's what reflects on all of us.
Well, Clark County must be expecting a big influx because the apartments building up everywhere. I'm talking about everywhere you got up there on, Lexington Road, you'll see where they've cleaned all the way back in there behind, over almost over the Davis Road. They put all apartments.
All right. Getting back to our mill rate. Gentlemen, any questions for Melanie or Lamar while they are here on the mill rate? Any other?
Do you have a comparison of what the rollback would look like versus what was running in the paper? Like the proposed column out here?
You talking about like on the $100,000 house, what kind of rollback you talking about? And we can figure it on the calculator right here.
Like, and you got the ad that you're in the paper, and
Yeah,
kind of what
let me go get that verbiage.
what the final might
That
look
was
like
in-
based on what we've discussed
That north,
in the budget.
I think it was, it's gonna increase from what, $910 Melody?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I wanted, if it's homesteaded, I wanna say it was like
$9 or something.
Let me address your point you made about challenging your assessment, challenging your value. I personally have done that 3 times, and the board that you sit in front of will be just citizens that show they're not tax officials, they're just citizens. And I have found that, and particularly with the information that's available on QPublic and other sites, what comparable properties are, so you can build a case. I have found them very amenable. I have sat in cases when the answer is no. I've been before 3 times, and I won my discussion 2 of those 3 times. And the other time, their explanation is very reasonable. I would encourage everyone not to fear that process. If you feel like your evaluation is incorrect for whatever reason, again, because of the information on QPublic, you can do comparisons really, really easy, and you can build a case, and you can build it so strong that you sit back and they say, okay, what would you like your evaluation to be? It is that kind of a process.
Yeah, do your research.
Well, sure, absolutely.
But your appeal doesn't stop with the assessment.
Right, there are other steps.
Mr. Chandler talked about, you got the board,
Right.
you got all, you got very court. So even if the assessors did raise your value, say, I request a hearing with the board of equalization, within 15 minutes, they ordered them here right after this one right here. And you just present your pictures, your arguments, your complaints. Mr. Franklin's going through it today. You know, you just show what you got, and they are everyday citizens. They are not bound by the tenants of mass appraisal. They are retired teachers, farmers, truck drivers. They just everyday you. When I was an appraiser, I got in trouble because I told people, if you go in there and cry, they'll give you what you want. You know, I mean, they don't. But they just like you know, and it takes you 15 minutes every time. You know, if I like come to one of these meetings right here.
But now it's also a learning experience.
Sure is.
Because you're going to get to see, not only from your research, you're going to also see their side of it. So let's just say you come in and you haven't done your research and you just say, I don't think my home's bad, then they're going to show you their research. So at some point, you're gonna walk away with an understanding, whether you agree or disagree, understanding of how the process came to be. Fortunately, like this year, our appeals, even with those astronomical assessments that went out, or potential, all right, we were really, really low in appeals. Because Madison County didn't get the initial sticker shock until they saw it was. And you know, you in your mind knows what your friend sold their house for, or your neighbors, or your cousins, or somebody. So a lot of times you can say, you know what, maybe mine's not that far off. And I do have to brag on the tax assessor's office down there. They try to do their what they have to work with. But when you got 17,000 parcels, there is going to be some that's wrong. You just can't hit a home run on 17,000 all the time. So that's why the process is there.
Somebody down there need to have a little personality class.
Now, we won't get into that part today. I know where you, but not today. I get you though.
But yeah, I've heard people who said that they sold on our street for $500,000, and I'm like, we're in the middle of nowhere, there's cows and goats and donkeys, who's selling $500,000 houses? And if you've lived here for 20 years, I'm not planning on selling my house. So I'm just basically getting punished for being a citizen here and not moving, like, you know, middle of nowhere, Georgia, and paying, like, nothing for a house and I guess nothing for taxes.
Well, let me help you with that one. Middle of nowhere, Georgia's houses are through the roof also.
Yeah, that's almost right, man.
And Lamar may help me with this one. So up until last year, almost 2 years ago, we'd only had a $1 million house sale in like 10 years. 1 in 10 years. This year, I think we're somewhere over the number of 13 or 14 $1 million houses sold. So people's buying. I don't understand it a lot of times.
People are moving, they're used to $1 million houses. We're not. Just ban all Northern California people from moving here.
All right.
No.
All right, let's get back here for a minute.
You get this like that.
I didn't hear you.
It's the truth. I mean, I've worked for the county, and like you meet the folks that move here, and they're like, you know, your houses are so cheap. We're used to, you know, these crazy prices for like 1-bedroom apartment. So they think this is awesome. And the jobs up there were paying what big city should pay for them to survive. But here they're like crazy rich people when our salaries and our houses are not that. So it's just, we can't keep up with them. And they're driving everything up. It's the truth.
I would still tell you that you're very blessed to be in Georgia. If you go to the West Coast or go up north, it's
I
just...
can't afford to be up there.
No.
Be up there, but...
All right. Let's go back to this. All right. Questions? Did you get your answer?
Provide some information later for us.
Okay.
In draft mode, so we can have it a little bit in a different format.
Any of y'all have any questions for Lamar or Melanie?
No, I think that they've done an excellent job of providing us with information that's very good, and that does, looking, as we look further to the budget, it does give us some, where it would allow us to do a rollback. And so that, I'm very pleased that we have that out there in front of us, you know, that feel good about that. And I want also the citizens to understand too that we're taxpayers ourselves. And if you look at my property, I got the same issue, you know, when they send out the tax bill, they don't say, Commissioner, you don't fish, you do. So therefore, we're all subject to this, and so we're well aware, and we're trying to do all we can to put together a rollback that makes sense and still provides the services that y'all expect. Okay? So, you know, we can't just drop everything, because there's things like public safety, all those things have got to go on. And, you know, we're trying to keep costs down as best we can. The thing about it is inflation also hits the county government, just like it hits all of our pocketbooks too. So, you know, let's, keep in mind as we do the rollback, somebody said, well, why can't you roll more back? Well, that's because we still gotta pay to keep things going and to, keep the services like we.
Are y'all doing the same thing as the Board of Education said, you can't roll back more than 2 meals?
We're
No, it's not.
No.
I think for the unincorporated, it was 1.5.
1.5, we're talking about,
That would be a 0% increase.
yeah.
Correct.
So, yeah, I mean, we can.
That's gonna be the key.
The key is just making it match up with our budget. Okay, that's the key, is what we do. We're looking at rolling back the budget so that we can do the rollback, you know, not take all the extra money and say, okay, we're gonna increase our budget. We're looking at keeping our budget in a sound footing, and then where we can do a rollback. But that's yet to be determined exactly how much that is. But the proposal right now is
It's 1.25.
1.25 in the unincorporated, right?
Unincorporated.
Right.
I'm also confused on the difference between the unincorporated.
It's the city limits, all of the cities that,
Yeah, but why is there a different number for each one? Why would you reduce one rate so much but not equally on both sides? Like, I'm confused on that.
I don't know why it's different, it just always has been.
Well,
Because
Only thing about this,
cities also levy mills.
Yeah.
So,
When we set ours, the county portion of taxes of somebody in the incorporated area will be rolled back all the same.
all the same.
But the
I believe
cities,
we went
But
all
the
way
city,
back to
the
zero.
cities
their own
levy
budget.
their own.
Yeah, I think that's incorporated all the way to zero, just because almost every city they're looking at keeping everything the same, so we're trying really hard to help combat the increase that they're gonna see, because the city's mill rates are not rolling back.
not
So
the
the county is trying to go back as much as they can to help. But it's also not a huge amount of revenue for the county, because it's just the city limits. And the county's biggest portion of revenue comes from the county, the unincorporated part.
But you look at the rate of city levy taxes too.
Yeah,
Yeah, 'cause you pay county tax and city tax.
that's right. And
And
the
there's
city's
only
levy
about,
those.
in our 30,000 populated county, there's only about 1,000 that reside in the city limits of the city.
Is that Culver, Homer?
That's,
Other than levy property tax.
No, 'cause they got a zoo crew over there.
Well, I mean, your cities have a total combination of population of somewhere around, about
Make a note,
3,800.
I did not say.
It's about 3,800 people live in the city. So 3,800 people inside a city pays county tax also, even though they live in the city. For me, and talking to the mayors, cities struggle to survive with services. It was best for the county to absorb the bigger portion of that cut and let the city tax stay the same. So it will lower for city residents' tax bills also from the county side. To help you answer the question why they're different, I think that might explain it. You know, your cities also generate, you know, a lot of your tax dollars also. So it's a give and take. Fortunately, this Board of Commissioners and the cities have a very good working relationship. We look out for each other, we try to help each other. And one of the reasons that I felt that the number needed to be a little bit different between counties and cities, they're already taxing those individuals on that Social Security inside the city twice, city, county. That's why they got a little bit more right now. That helps you. One of the things that I wanted to mention, this is mainly for informational for Zach, because I hope you understand a lot of times we use Zach as a national tool for the public because they're not here, like y'all think you. Is I run my day-to-day operations in this county like a business, right up until the point that you reach a profit. So there's, Missy, you may know how many pages, 25 or 30 pages worth of budget.
20.
So, how many?
28.
Alright, so we don't look to make a dollar. We just have to justify the dollars we've got. And I know on Facebook and everywhere else, social media, people to trim the fat. Maybe you are too large of government. I can assure everybody out there, a year and a half ago, January 4th, 2020, I trimmed the fat out of the budget. These departments that we have listed in these 20 pages are, if you look at our budget, it shows actual, what they spent, and then it shows budgeted. And then next year it says actual and what budgeted. There's zero fluff in this. The only we have in this year is the unknown of inflation. But it's bare bones budget. We're not in business to make a dollar. The mill rate will come back to the point that we can try to break even on our, that's all the revenue we want. We just want to break even. We're not here for profit. And I hope that people will realize the effort that was taken to get to the point of not being for profit, because that's how this county is operating right now, currently. And I think it's always been that way to the best they could. There's a lot of unknowns when we do this now, predicting 2023, as we saw in 2022. We did not realize our fuel prices would go to $4 neither, but our ambulance is still running, the sheriff's office still runs. So a budget is a best guess. That's all a budget is. You will hear amendments to budgets. You'll have departments go over. The road department may go over because of cost this year. That's why there'll be an amendment. But when we do that best guess, it takes a team of people like Melanie and Missy, Christina, myself, Lacey, and several, to get that best guess as close as we possibly can to accurate. And I can assure you that I've told people this. If you paid $2,000 last year for your tax bill, $2,000, I hope this year you're going to pay $2,000 also. You know, because I'm looking at that inflation number of cost coming from the things that wasn't able to be taxed last year, the new homes that came on. I'm hoping that number will float us through. From a taxing standpoint, I will tell you, are probably in one of the best shapes ever. And I know that it's not going to feel good to anybody's pocketbook because they still have to pay it. But know that whatever you send in is used wisely. I'm a tightwad. I'm a girl. Trust me, I don't spend and cut it. The deal we done last night for $99,000, I made them throw in extra stuff because I didn't like the number. I try to get everything. So that's why we were elected to do that, every one of us.
Well, I know whenever my homeowner's insurance went up, I had to pay the mortgage company $600 for my house payment going up. And if my taxes go up, then I'm gonna have to come up with that. This one to just keep my house payment from going up more.
Well, one of the things I want to say, no matter what we go a round percentage number back to, we'll never get to exactly what it was last year. So if I used a round number, if you paid $2,000 even, this year you may pay $2,020. It wasn't because I was looking for your extra $20. It's just that's the way the numbers fell, and I couldn't get them closer.
Go back to that.
Huh?
Okay, we would go back to that.
Well, I mean, when I tell you I don't want any more money, I'm telling you I'm going to get as close to it as I possibly can because it was an unintentional raise. Because if 1.5 turns out dollars, don't hold me to. You said I wouldn't have to pay an extra $7.
I know that.
Yeah.
But I'm just telling you, that's, you know, I wish it would go back to 2020, you know, property tax, because I paid over $2,400 last year. And this year it's over $2,800.
Maybe I misstated in 20. I want it to be whatever you paid last year. I'm not looking for
Oh,
an increase.
I'm
not looking for an increase. I use the wrong year.
It would go back to $2,020.
Oh, yeah. I got you. All right. Any other questions? Any other concerns? Good deal. Moving on. I'll ask for a motion to adjourn the mill rate discussion.
Wait just a minute. I got one question. I got some friends of mine that live up on Highway 106, and when they run that water line up through there, some of them they come over on their property instead of the right of way. Is that gonna cause Any extra legal expenses for the county?
Any water lines that's ran in this county is not ran by Madison OC, it's ran by the Madison County IDBA, and that'd be a question for them, sir, because I cannot answer that.
Is Madison County the legal expenses gonna occur back over,
It'll
the county
occur,
don't have,
no, sir, it will occur through the IDBA and through their budget. It will not affect
I know
Madison County
some of them pretty
BOC.
hot.
Huh?
Some of them people are pretty hot.
Yeah, I can't speak to it because I'm not part of that. Yeah. I don't know. I can't speak to it because that's not my department.
Okay.
That'd be like me talking about the sheriff. I don't know.
I'm just, the expense part is what I'm talking about. The part that, would the county have to be responsible for those legal expenses if they occur?
No, sir. Yeah, I need to have their own mill rate, they have their own income.
Okay.
Yeah, they have to put their own bills. And I say that in a positive way. That's just how it works. They're just a separate entity of government.
It doesn't affect our budget and our revenues that we collect.
No, sir.
County as a whole.
Zach, do you have any questions? Did we do a good enough job?
What's that?
Did we do a good enough job for you?
Yeah, I think that's
We
pretty well.
I'm trying to drive it home to the public, you know. All right, with that being said,
I make the motion, we adjourn.
you beat Derek. All right.
All
Motion
this
adjourned.
afternoon.
Have another one?
What time is that, please?
Budget, and then.
Budget work session. Budget work session at 5. If y'all wanna come back, you'll hear about that.
5 or 6?
Budget work session,
But-
millage rate.
Those roads, we got two.
The budget's the one where you really ought to hold our feet to the flame. That's important. We keep the dollars that we, just as tight as we can, and then the tax rate will reflect that. That's what I would encourage everybody to watch. What was the total county in 2020, what was 21, what is it this year, what does it look like? That's the important one.
And again, you can always stop by the office anytime. My door is always open. Any of these girls' doors is open. Please feel free.
If y'all want one,
I randomly give out his cell phone number, by the way.
he only takes calls between 1 and 3 in the morning.
Especially if you're selling insurance.
About 4, you call. I think sometimes.
I called you Sunday, you didn't answer the phone.
I was on the track, I got the phone with me.
That's the way I know it. I got my phone wiping. Maybe here, it depends on what I'm doing.
I'll put some steel pole on the track, because I would leave that.
Rodney's gonna be in
I had lung surgery. My daughter made sure that I kept my phone on me all the time.
I know that was long-winded, trying to drive it home for Zach, by the way, in my statements.
I don't know.
I'm glad-
I have to
I'm
say, I don't
glad-
know,
I'm
I'm like, I don't know why the two different mills.
I'm glad you got it. I'm glad you got it.
Trying to be honored as I can. Just fine. I told her when I was at the board education, and I said, oh, you might know me on the first name basis.